Hey there, welcome back to The Empowered Edge, the podcast where we unlock your best self through optimal health, a resilient mindset, and lasting habits. I'm your host, Jenna Hostetler, and today we're diving into a topic that hits close to home for many of us: insecurity and how it undermines our confidence, derails our happiness, and holds us back from the life that we truly want to live. Now, we all have insecurities. Maybe it's about how we look, how capable we feel, or how we think others see us. The problem is that we don't always realize how these insecurities are quietly stealing opportunities, draining our energy, and keeping us stuck in a life that we don't really want to live. Now, when I talk about living the life you want, I'm not talking about making millions, owning yachts, or having the picture-perfect life you see on Instagram. Sure, those things might be part of your goals, and that's great, but here on this show, we're focused on the day-to-day grind. It's about the small intentional tweaks that help you break free from the grind, turn your life into something that you're excited to wake up for, and give you the freedom to pursue those bigger dreams if you choose. Today, we're breaking the cycle of insecurity. We will uncover the root of insecurity, reframe how you see yourself, and explore practical steps to help you show up with confidence in any situation. If you've ever felt like insecurity is holding you back, whether at work, in relationships, or in chasing your dreams, this episode is for you. Let's dive in. Insecurities have a way of creeping into every corner of our lives. For people striving to reach their ideal weight, one of the biggest struggles is appearance. Feeling insecure about how you look because you're not at the weight you want to be. It can feel like people are constantly looking at you, judging you, making assumptions about your worth based on your appearance. And yes, we've all heard the saying, looks don't matter, or don't judge a book by its cover, but let's be honest, first impressions do matter. People form snap judgments about who you are within seconds of meeting you, often based solely on how you look. Once they get to know you, of course, appearance matters far less, but those initial judgments, they happen whether we like it or not. The frustrating part about insecurities is that they don't just stay within the confines of that specific insecurity. They spill into everything. Maybe you're insecure about your weight and you hesitate to go to the gym because you think people are watching you and judging you. You really do want to work out, but the thought of being surrounded by fit, confident people makes you feel so self-conscious that you can't even focus on your workout. Or maybe you feel self-conscious buying fresh produce, worrying that someone might think, what diet is she trying this week? And then there's eating out. Imagine it's your birthday. Imagine you've avoided sugar for an entire month. Can you confidently order a slice of cheesecake without worrying that the waitress is secretly thinking, cheesecake, really? Now, when we're insecure, when we lack confidence, we hold back. We're not as outgoing, we're not as social. We're so consumed by what we think others might be thinking of us that we don't let ourselves fully enjoy life. But what if I told you that most of those thoughts were not based on truth? I remember years ago when I was working at Kroger as a nutrition tech, and we had to go through one of the very first DEI trainings. They used this example about welcoming and accepting new people into the workplace, and while I completely agree that everyone should feel included, the analogy they used just irritated me to no end. They compared it to going to the gym. They said someone might feel insecure about being there for the first time because they're overweight and they're not sure of what they're doing. And if no one greeted them, if everyone was focused on their own thing, if someone gave them a funny look, that person might feel so uncomfortable and so insecure that they never go back to the gym again. And because of that, it's everyone at the gym's responsibility to go out of their way to acknowledge and welcome this newcomer. Now, should people be welcoming in the workplace? Absolutely. Should we go out of our way to make someone feel intentionally excluded or inadequate? Of course not. But this example does nothing but victimize the insecure gym member. And here's why. If you go to the gym, it is not anyone else's responsibility to make you feel better about yourself. If you're feeling insecure, that is something that you need to work on. If you're imagining people are thinking negative things about you without proof, then that is your issue, not theirs. Let's just think about this for a minute. I'm at the gym, focusing on my own workout. I might notice you or I might not. But the idea that I am somehow obligated to stop what I'm doing to make you feel better about being there is a perfect example of victim mentality. Giving strangers control over how you feel about yourself and taking no ownership of your feelings. We have to stop expecting other people to fix our insecurities. The responsibility for building confidence lies with us. Now, there are some simple mindset shifts that we can implement to overcome insecurity, build confidence, and start taking ownership over our lives. First is focusing on your strengths. Instead of fixating on what you're insecure about, shift your focus to what you're good at. Put yourself in situations where you can thrive and shine. Now, this is really important because of something called negativity bias. It is our natural tendency to focus on what's going wrong while ignoring everything that's going right. It is a really easy trap to fall into, and it is a confidence killer. When you intentionally seek out opportunities to excel, you build momentum. Your confidence grows, and suddenly it becomes easier to explore areas where you're not as skilled yet. Think about it. If you spent your entire day feeling frustrated and defeated, are you going to want to tackle something new? Probably not. But when you create opportunities to succeed, you have the energy and the motivation to step into areas where you need to grow. You have the mental bandwidth to try and even maybe fail. Remember that competence builds confidence. So ask yourself, what is one thing you're insecure about that you could work on to become more competent? The more you develop the skill, the more confident you'll feel, and not just in that area, but across the board. Next is understanding projections. When we assume people are judging us, it's often because we are judging ourselves. We project our insecurities on others by imagining what they think about us. But here's a reality check from Dr. Phil that stuck with me for years, and I just think it's hilarious. People don't think about us nearly as much as we think they do. A more harsh way to say this is this: you're not that special, and people have way more important things to think about than you. It's harsh, but it's true, and it's actually a really liberating thought when you let it sink in. The next time you catch yourself worrying about being judged, imagine this internal dialogue. I am super self-conscious right now, and I'm so self-absorbed that I think everyone is looking at me and thinking about me. Now, of course, you don't actually believe that, but that is essentially what we say when we assume others are judging us. Now, projection works both ways. When you think someone's judging you, it's often your insecurities talking. And when someone is judging you, that's usually their insecurities talking. Think of it like a TV show bully, where they pick on others because they're massively insecure about themselves, and the person they're bullying reminds them of them. At the end of the day, we have to recognize judgment's true source. Whether imagined or real, judgment is rarely about facts. It's about projection. So assume that your assumptions are false and stop giving so much mental energy to something that you can't control. Next is to act confident. When you carry yourself confidently, people respond to you differently. The way people treat us often mirrors how we treat ourselves. People can pick up on insecurity almost instantly. And if you don't think you know what you're doing, if you don't believe you belong, why would someone else think you do? Confidence, even if it's practiced at first, sets the tone for how others perceive and interact with you. A perfect example of this is when I attended a business gathering shortly after I moved here to Arizona. And as a small business owner, I was invited to a private showing of the new Mormon temple, which was an experience in itself. But it was about 85 degrees at 8 p.m., and everyone here is so casual that I didn't even think about what I was wearing, and I show up in shorts and a tank top to this event that is business casual at minimum. So I get to the door, and the doorman stops me and says, "I'm sorry, ma'am, this is a private event." I know there are a couple ways I could have handled this, but I just smiled and said, "I know, I was invited." And he couldn't really argue with that, so he let me in. So then I go into this really fancy lobby filled with people in their nice clothes, and there's a big old table of hors d'oeuvres, and I'm looking around totally lost, like, okay, now what do I do? I'm clearly out of place. And a man in his fancy waiter outfit comes up to me and says, "I'm sorry, man, this is actually a private event." And in my mind, I'm thinking, I know, I'm supposed to be here. But I just smiled and I said, "I know, I was invited." And I gave the guy's name who I was looking for, so he took me to the right place and all was well. But the point is, how you show up matters, and people look to you for cues on how to treat you. If you walk into a situation feeling massively insecure, assuming people are thinking negative things about you, like, what does she think she's doing in this health club? You will project insecure, negative vibes, and people will pick up on it and treat you like you don't belong, which just confirms your fears and reinforces your lack of confidence. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy that you have complete control over. Act confident, project confidence, and when people respond to you like you belong, because you do, you'll start to realize that those insecurities were never about them. They were all in your head. Acting confident does not mean that you have to feel 100% sure of yourself all the time. It means presenting yourself with the belief that you're capable and that you deserve to be where you are. And over time, that practice confidence becomes genuine, and the way people respond to you reinforces it. And finally, change what you can, accept what you can't. If there's something you can change, take action and start working on it. Don't let fear, procrastination, or perfectionism stop you. Just begin. But if you're insecure about something that you can't control, it's time to shift your focus. Learn to manage it, and more importantly, stop letting it control you. Dwelling on things that you cannot change only wastes your energy and holds you back from progress. Confidence comes from knowing that you're doing what you can with what you have and letting go of the rest. Overcoming insecurity is so important because it doesn't stay contained to one area of your life. It seeps into everything you do, and it holds you back in ways that you might not even realize. At work, insecurity might make you hesitant to share your ideas, hesitant to interact with customers, or show what you're truly capable of because you're afraid of being judged or making a mistake. The result? You stay in the background, you don't get the recognition you deserve, opportunities don't open up for you, and you feel stuck, undervalued, and overlooked. And over time, this can lead to resentment, burnout, and eventually hating a job that you could have loved. In relationships, insecurity keeps you from showing your true self. Maybe you don't speak up about things that matter to you, or you hold back your feelings because you're afraid of rejection or you're afraid of conflict. The result? The other person never really gets to know who you are, and the relationship becomes surface level at best or a constant struggle at worst. In your personal life, insecurity often shows up as avoidance. You might avoid trying new things, taking risks, or going after your dreams because you're afraid of failure or you're worried about what other people might think. And the result? You stay stuck in a cycle wishing you were somebody else, longing for that life you're too afraid to chase. And let me tell you, that is an absolutely miserable way to live. But just imagine for a moment that you have complete confidence in who you are and what you're capable of. What could your life look like if you stopped letting fear hold you back? What if fear didn't control your decisions? What could your life look like if you stopped letting insecurity stop you and you just did the thing already, so it's at least possible for you to have a life you enjoy, a life you look forward to waking up for? Just think about that for a moment, because that's what's possible when you decide to take control of your mindset and learn to overcome your insecurities. The first step to confront insecurity is self-love. Now, if the phrase self-love makes you cringe, stay with me. I'm not talking about some overly mushy, feel-good mantra of, I'm amazing and nothing is wrong with me. What I mean by self-love is the opposite of self-deprecation. Here's a pattern that I've noticed. People who are insecure tend to put themselves down, act like they can't do anything right, and they apologize unnecessarily for absolutely everything. That's the opposite of self-love, and it's not humility, it's self-centeredness and self-sabotage. It either gives others permission to belittle you, reinforcing your insecurity, or it sets you up to fish for compliments so that you can feel good temporarily. Either way, it is a cycle that keeps you stuck and far from the life that you want. Self-love doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect and ignoring your shortcomings. It's about accepting who you are right now while working towards the person you want to become. It's a quiet, grounded confidence that comes from knowing your inherent worth is not tied to success or others' opinions. When you embrace this mindset, you can show up as yourself, shake off insecurity, and finally go after the life that you really want. You can love yourself without condoning your mistakes. You can strive for improvement without self-loathing. And here's a freeing thought. People are not judging you near as much as you think. Most people are too busy worrying about their own lives. And even if someone does judge you, they'll forget about it before the day is over. So start with self-love. Acknowledge the good, learn from the bad, commit to being better, and believe in yourself, even if no one else does yet. When you believe in your own abilities and you act on it, others will see it too. Now remember, confidence isn't arrogance. If confidence turns you off, it's probably because you're mistaking it for cockiness, but they're not the same. Confidence isn't about thinking you're perfect, the best, or all-knowing. It's about trusting in your ability to figure things out, improve, and handle whatever life throws your way. It's about knowing your value no matter what anyone else thinks. You can be confident and humble. You can be confident while fully aware that you have room to grow. Confidence doesn't mean you're fearless. It means you're willing to take action even when fear is present. And every time you push through that fear and take action, you build more confidence. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. So if confidence feels out of reach, start small. Trust yourself in one area of your life, take action, and let the momentum carry you forward. Confidence is not something that you're born with. It's something you build, one decision at a time. If you're ready to start building confidence in any area of your life, here's what I want you to do this week. Start a confidence journal. Here's how it works. Write down your insecurities. Start by listing all the thoughts that come up when you think about the thing that you're most insecure about, the area that you want to grow confident in, and be brutally honest. For example, if you're insecure about giving presentations, your list may look like this. I don't speak well in front of others. I don't sound professional. I always get nervous. Nobody listens to me. Now imagine for a second walking into a presentation with those thoughts on repeat in your head. It's no wonder you'd feel nervous and underperform. You've set yourself up for a failure with a self-fulfilling prophecy. So next you're going to disprove these thoughts. List all the evidence that proves these thoughts are false. For example, I speak easily with my friends. I talk about college football with authority. My colleagues do respect me during casual conversations in the break room. And if you struggle with this, here's a trick. Take your limiting belief, I don't speak well in front of others, and ask yourself, is this 100% true 100% of the time? Because chances are it's not. And what just happened when you did this? You found evidence that proves your insecurity is false. Next, write down what's true. Replace your limiting beliefs with empowering truths. I speak professionally and confidently when I can speak with authority about my coworkers listen to me when. And these truths remind your brain that you are capable. Even if your examples aren't exactly related, you're still showing your brain that you've had success before, and it will make it easier to take the next step forward. Reframe how you want to feel. Write down how you want to feel about the situation, but write it in the present or past tense, not the future tense. Instead of saying, I will feel confident when I give presentations, say, when I give presentations, I feel confident and prepared. We never write down what we want in future tense because that just reminds our brain that we've not accomplished it yet. Writing it as if it's already happened tells your brain that this is your reality, and if you've already accomplished it, then it's not nearly as intimidating. And finally, read it every day. Now, this is not journaling, it is rewiring your brain. By consistently replacing limiting beliefs with empowering truths, you'll train your brain to approach situations with confidence instead of fear. So read the new version of how you want to show up in life every day and make it your new reality. Now, I know it might sound a little weird, but it is literally how our brain is wired. If you study highly successful people in business, in sports, or in any field, you'll find that they all use some version of this technique because they understand the power of belief. So grab a journal and start rewriting your future. You'll be amazed at the confidence and clarity that comes from changing the way you talk to yourself. If there's one thing I want you to take away from today, it's this. Stop letting insecurity run your life. Stop assuming people are judging you. It's not all about you. Stop obsessing over things you can't change. And if you can change it, start taking action and stop complaining, even if those complaints are just to yourself. Confidence isn't about being perfect. It's about making progress. It's about showing up as you are while knowing you're capable of so much more. Thank you for joining me for this episode of The Empowered Edge. If you found this message helpful, share it with someone who could use a confidence boost. And don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and most importantly, take action. Start your confidence journal today and begin rewiring the way you see yourself. Take action, stay empowered, and I'll see you in the next episode.